Hello, Ben 10 fans. My name is Wiki, and welcome to Hero Time TV, the place where we dive deep into everything Ben 10, and sometimes beyond. Today, I was watching Rick and Morty, and it hit me, who's actually smarter? Rick C. 137 or Azmuth? It's a wild question, and trust me, the answer might surprise you. So in this video, we're gonna break it down, compare their brains, tech, and personalities, and try to figure out who really takes the crown. And hey, before we jump in, drop your answer in the comments. Who do you think is the smartest? Rick or Azmuth? Let's see if you guessed it right by the end. But before we dive in, I gotta say this. This isn't some hate video. I love both series. This is just a fun discussion between two insanely smart characters from two totally different worlds. So if you disagree with anything I say, that's totally fine. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's debate it out, respectfully, like real fans. Let's start with Rick C. 137, the man, the myth, the massive ego. In Dimension C. 137, Rick was just a humble scientist. That all changed when he was approached by Rick Prime, a version of himself who had already unlocked interdimensional travel. Rick C. 137 refused the offer and paid the price. Rick Prime murdered his wife Diane and daughter Beth, pushing Rick C. 137 into madness, grief, and vengeance. Driven by rage and loss, he built the portal gun and became the only Rick, besides Rick Prime, to actually invent interdimensional travel from scratch. That already puts him leagues above most of his variants. And throughout the series, we've seen it. Rick constantly outsmarts other versions of himself. He's not just another Rick, he's the Rickiest Rick. He claims to be the smartest man in the universe, and to be fair, most of the time, he backs it up. But let's not forget, in the episode Ju Rixic Mort, the dinosaurs show up with tech so advanced that even Rick is left stunned. That kinda throws a wrench in his whole smartest being alive claim, at least for a moment. Still, Rick's brainpower, survival instinct, and ability to weaponize science on the fly? Undeniable. But what about the other genius in the room? Now let's talk about Azmuth, the first thinker, the creator of the Omnitrix, and the mind behind some of the most powerful tech in the Ben 10 universe. As a tadpole, Azmuth already showed signs of unmatched intelligence, scoring a perfect score on his GATS, basically the Galvin equivalent of acing the SATs while still in diapers. In his younger years, he was more wild and curious. During a date with his lover, Zenith, a planetary alignment inspired him to create the sword Ascalon, a weapon of immense power. But that move backfired. Zenith left him, disappointed by his turn toward destructive science. The heartbreak, combined with the danger of what he'd built, changed Azmuth forever. From that point on, he dedicated his life to peaceful science. And out of that mission came the Omnitrix, a tool meant to promote understanding and unity between species across the galaxy. He didn't just build it overnight either. Azmuth spent hundreds of years traveling the universe, collecting DNA from thousands of species. That's not just science, that's commitment. Unlike Rick, Azmuth doesn't walk around calling himself the smartest in the universe. He prefers the more humble title, smartest being in 5 galaxies. But others, like Maltruant, have called him the smartest being in the entire universe.
The greatest mind in the galaxy is Azmuth. But no matter the alternate dimensional timeline, he is always too smart to be evil.
Now here's where things get interesting. Their pasts. Rick and Azmuth actually share something small, but huge. They both lost their lovers. But how they responded to that loss. That's where the roads split. Rick's wife was murdered, violently ripped from his life by another version of himself. That trauma forged his path, a never-ending mission of revenge, chaos, and ego-driven survival. Azmuth. He lost Zenith when she left him, not because of tragedy, but because of the consequences of his own actions. She was disappointed in the weapon he created. And that heartbreak didn't push him to destroy more, it woke him up. It made him want to change. Instead of building weapons to take, he started building tools to understand. Now, let's be fair here, you can't really blame Rick. His entire family was murdered. Revenge. That's a natural, even logical response for someone like him. But if the roles were reversed, if Zenith had been killed instead of walking away, I don't think Azmuth would have gone down the same road as Rick. He would have understood that revenge wouldn't bring her back. That it was a waste of time, and time is something a genius knows not to waste. And this is a key difference. Intelligence isn't just equations and gadgets. It's wisdom. It's the ability to look at the chaos of life and choose a path forward. Rick and Azmuth are both brilliant, but one chose destruction, and the other chose discovery. Azmuth's genius isn't just in what he builds, it's in the why behind it. He's not driven by ego or revenge. He's driven by purpose. That's a very different kind of intelligence. One of the most iconic inventions by Rick C-137 is the portal gun, a device that allows him to travel between dimensions, universes, and timelines instantly. This technology is what gave Rick a massive advantage over nearly everyone else in his universe. It was born from grief and rage, built after the murder of his wife and daughter by Rick Prime. What's more impressive is that, despite the existence of countless Ricks, only two versions, Rick Prime and Rick C-137, are known to have actually invented the portal technology themselves. Everyone else either copied it or uses variants of it. That alone shows that C-137 isn't just another Rick. He's one of the few true innovators. Throughout the series, we see that many other Ricks, and even Mortys, use portal guns, but they didn't build them. The Galactic Federation actively hunted Rick because they wanted this tech. If it was common or accessible, they wouldn't need to rely on him. This tells us that interdimensional travel is still extremely rare and valuable in Rick's universe. Except dinosaurs, they built it way before Rick. Most other beings in the Rick and Morty universe either don't have access to portal tech or are still chasing after it. The tech isn't widespread. Now, let's look at the Ben 10 universe. In Ben 10, interdimensional travel is not rare at all. It shows up as early as Season 3 of classic Ben 10, in the episode Ben 10,000. Which at the time was thought to be Ben's future, but later confirmed to be an alternate timeline or dimension in Ultimate Alien. That already shows the idea of alternate dimensions was baked into the lore very early. But that's just the start. There are multiple ways to travel between universes in the Ben 10 universe, not just tech but also magic. For example, there are spells that can open portals between dimensions. Maltruant, a rogue chronosapian, had cybernetic enhancements that allowed him to travel through time and between universes, and he's not even the smartest being in the universe. Normal chronosapians can't move through other universes, but with a few advanced enhancements, they can get it done. Professor Blarney T. Hoakstar, the smoothie guy, runs a shop that literally travels through dimensions like it's a bus route. He uses a machine that can phase the entire shop through the multiverse, and when it broke, Azmuth from Dimension 23 casually helped fix it, showing that this tech isn't just known by Azmuth, it's something he understands well enough to repair without much effort. And let's not forget Paradox, a time traveler who hops between timelines and dimensions constantly. So the contrast is clear. In Rick and Morty, portal technology is revolutionary, rare, and dangerous. Only a couple of characters have created it, and most of the universe is still chasing after it. In Ben 10, interdimensional travel is established, has multiple methods, tech, cybernetic, and magic, and even civilian-level characters are capable of using it. Azmuth himself isn't obsessed with the tech, it's like a screwdriver to him. This tells us something important. Rick's invention of the portal gun is more significant within his universe, because of how hard it is to achieve there. But in terms of raw multiversal understanding and availability of dimensional tech, Ben 10's universe is way ahead, and Azmuth lives in a world where this type of advancement is more normalized, even if he himself didn't invent every version of it. So, from a universe-wide context, Rick's portal gun equals groundbreaking for his world. Azmuth's universe equals already mastered that level of tech. When it comes to combat, Rick C-137 has the clear upper hand. Because of his life path, fueled by revenge, paranoia, and constant danger, Rick is always armed and ready. His body is loaded with tech, force fields, weapons, teleporters, backup clones, and even suicide trigger failsafes. He's fought alien emperors, criminal syndicates, interdimensional beasts, and literal gods, and he didn't just survive, he usually outsmarted and outgunned them. Rick isn't a martial arts master or anything, but his tactical combat skills, gadgets, and dirty tricks make him ridiculously dangerous in a fight. On the other side, we have Azmuth, who isn't exactly a fighter. He's a scientist and philosopher first. He only engages in combat when there's absolutely no other option. The one time we really see Azmuth throw down is when Vilgax attacks Primus, and even then, he shows he's not completely helpless. He's got some moves, especially for someone his size, but he's clearly not meant to be a frontline warrior. Bottom line, Rick is a combat-ready genius with a violent edge. Azmuth is more of a brains-over-brawn type, rarely stepping into the battlefield himself. Let's talk about DNA mutation, specifically what happens in Season 1, Episode 6 of Rick and Morty, Rick Potion Number 9. In this episode, Rick helps Morty with a love potion, but it spirals out of control, mutating almost everyone on Earth into grotesque creatures called Cronenbergs. Now here's the thing, Rick doesn't fix it. Instead, he jumps to another dimension where he and Morty are already dead and just takes their place. That's it. Problem solved, for him. His original Earth. Left behind, full of twisted mutants and abandoned family. This choice reveals two important things. Rick might be able to cure the mutation. He has access to infinite Ricks, a whole multiverse of genius. If he really wanted to, he could probably gather the brainpower to undo the Cronenberg mess. But he doesn't. Because it's easier to bail than to fix it. That's a pattern with Rick. Genius, yes, but detached. Now flip that with Azmuth. His greatest invention, the Omnitrix, literally rebuilds DNA from scratch. It can rewrite alien genomes in real time and has even shown the ability to correct DNA errors. It's not a stretch at all to think it could reverse a Cronenberg-level mutation, and not just in one person, but on a massive scale. The tech is designed with restoration, not just power, in mind. So the difference? Rick likely could fix a broken world, but didn't. Azmuth literally built a tool to do that, and actually uses it for peace. Not saying Rick isn't capable. He is. But for Azmuth, fixing DNA is his lane. For Rick, it's just one more problem he doesn't care enough to solve. The second important point about the Cronenberg incident, and Rick in general, is this. He abandoned his family. And not even his original family. Let's break it down. Rick C-137 lived with Rick Prime's family, not his own, for nearly a decade. If he truly cared, he could have brought all of them with him when the world mutated. But nope. He only brought Morty. Why? Because Morty is useful. Replaceable. A sidekick. This is the same Rick who once ditched Morty for 2 crows. Let that sink in. Rick doesn't care about anyone but himself. He drinks, isolates, lies, and deflects because deep down, he's carrying massive guilt. If Rick C-137 had accepted Rick Prime's original offer to join him, maybe his Diane and Beth would still be alive. That regret haunts him, and it's why he keeps everyone at arm's length. And here's the real kicker. Rick never admits when he's wrong. Azmuth. He's done that multiple times. That's a sign of actual intellect, not just being smart, but having the wisdom to acknowledge failure and learn from it. There's a huge difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is facts, data, how things work. Rick owns that category. Interdimensional tech, quantum mechanics, bioengineering, the man's got range. Wisdom is knowing what to do with all that knowledge. Making moral choices. Understanding people. Emotional control. And that's where Rick falls flat. He's emotionally stunted, impulsive, and driven by pain. His brilliance is soaked in rage, trauma, and self-loathing. Look at it this way. If someone is truly intelligent, on the highest level, they'd understand that revenge is a dead end. Rick lost the people he loved. That pain is real. But no amount of bloodshed will bring Diane back. Even evil Morty pointed it out in Season 7, Episode 5, Unmortrican. Killing Rick Prime didn't fix anything. It didn't bring peace. It didn't fill the hole. And Azmuth. He also lost someone he loved. But instead of destroying galaxies or chasing revenge, he devoted his life to unlocking the secrets of the universe and protecting life. He grew. He evolved. That's the difference. Rick is a genius. Azmuth is wise. So with all that said, the tech, the combat skills, the choices they made, the mistakes they owned or didn't. Who's really smarter? Who's the better mind? Is it Rick C-137, the mad genius fueled by pain and revenge? Or Azmuth Prime, the wise inventor? I'll leave that choice to you. Let me know what you think. Who's the winner? Rick or Azmuth? Drop your answer in the comments. And I'll see you in the next one.